I need to speak up now. I need to be heard now. I need to bring something into this situation. And so through our thoughts and our conviction, we use our voice.
But I think the voice has always been brave enough to speak up.
That our Creator gave us a heart of worship.
Business, I only choose things that I know make an impact somehow, or leave things or people better off. How you go through Mario Brothers, or what's it called? Where you go through the next level.
I feel that I need to speak up, but I don't, because if I'm questioned. So I wanted to start, Franziska, with just really getting to the core of why you feel you exist in this world. Why do you wake up of a morning? What is it about your life that you feel needs to matter?
It's a good question, and I sometimes wonder, does it matter? Does my life matter? And I'm not sure if we want to go into the field of legacy or calling or purpose, because they're all different. And I don't know if I'm really, if I strip the whole ego of myself, does my life matter? I think it matters to people around me. Now it matters to my daughters. But maybe in the past, even though I do impactful work, I'm noticing myself now guarding my life a little bit more, taking less stupid risk than I used to do, because it matters to my kids that I'm here, I think. Well, no, I don't think, I know, because they're little. But why am I here on this planet? I think we are all here to evolve. And I'm not sure, I would love to know from you how you look at life, but I sometimes look at life for all of us like this computer game. And you know how, and I don't even play computer games, but I did when I was a kid, how you go through Mario Brothers, or what's it called? Where you go through the next level. You make it through this part of your life, this chapter, and I've just gone through a really difficult chapter, and now I feel like, oh, I've got all the tokens or anything, whatever you collect, the bananas. Now I can go to the next level. And so why am I here? I think it's to up level, to evolve, to be true to who I believe I am. And can I ask you too, like why are you here?
I think about this a lot, and it helps me to live in my purpose and live in the calling that I have. And so I think first and foremost is I help bring children into this world. And so first and foremost, I exist for the responsibility that I have for them. And I don't want to be a human being that would help bring someone into this world and not carry the weight of responsibility for them. So for me, that certainly is, top tier. And then the next layer then would be, I feel that our Creator gave us a heart of worship. And worship sort of means that I surrender to myself and I honour something that's bigger and better than me. Someone that has shown me unconditional love, someone that's always there, right there with me. And so worshipping that and honouring that is also gives me purpose, gives me meaning, and it also helps me live a life of true fulfilment. Because when I feel loved, when I feel that I have a sense of belonging, when I feel that I am good enough, it helps me to, even surrender to that and worship. Yeah. And it just gives me a deep level of gratitude in general.
And for you, I guess you find that in religion, and I think my belief is actually even though we have very different models that we use to life, they're so similar. I believe that the best way I can live this life is to do my best and then to surrender, and I call it the universe. You call it God, possibly. For me, it's the same. I believe in, actually I don't know if it's the same, but I think it's a similar way of living where I do the best I can, and I think, and maybe we're going to get there, but my purpose, other than evolving, is to leave people and things better off. And that's why I only ever choose projects to get involved in, like this book retreat or with my business. I only choose things that I know make an impact somehow, or leave things or people better off. And then do that, and then the rest, when things don't go according to your plan, which often they don't, and you're a great example of that, then I surrender. Because I know that I need to probably fail in some areas to then go to the next level of that computer game that we're in.
Look, the second part of this is also, now that we've discussed why we feel our life matters, the next part of this is also our voice. So the essence of finding that, right? And how that lands for me is coming from a place of, I need to speak up now. I need to be heard now. I need to bring something into this situation. Mm-hmm. And so through our thoughts and our conviction, we use our voice. And so my question to you is, did you have a moment when you found your voice? Did you have a moment where you were unapologetic with your voice? That the inner dialogue of bravery and courage emerged, and you were unapologetic with your voice being heard? Did you ever have a moment in your life?
It's a good question. And one of the chapters in my book is unapologetic, and it's exactly about this. Was there ever a moment in my life where I suddenly went from filtering to being unapologetic? I don't remember a specific moment. I just remember that most of my life, I call it unfuckwittable. Most of my life, I've just been able to share unapologetically what I think and what I believe, delivering it in a way that is kind, but could be completely offensive for some, seen as that. I think there was not a specific moment. I think I've always had that way of feeling like the only way I can be authentic and congruent is if I can be unapologetic with my voice. And of course the voice has shaped over the years, even politically. You know, I lived in a small farmer town where people were very right, and then I moved to Geneva and I suddenly was very lefty, and I would speak up about being a lefty, and then I sort of swung through the middle again. So the voice, the stance that I've had politically or otherwise has changed, but I think the voice has always been brave enough to speak up.
Have you ever carried doubt? Doubt from a place of, I'm not sure if I can articulate that clearly yet. And it might be because you haven't developed a position on that as yet, or it might be because you're not convicted by that as yet. And so did you ever have doubt on topics, subjects, or even in conversation where you feel, I don't have an opinion in this, but maybe I should?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific story that I can share. I definitely have that when I'm entering a conversation and I hear someone's opinion and someone else's opinion, and I'm like, I don't actually quite know where I stand yet. And then often in that case, and I have it now still, I probably had it today in the car even, when we had a really good discussion with a few of the other people here, talking about their books. I probably had a moment where I'm like, I never thought of it that way, and normally I would react in a way where I was like, nah, I don't believe in this model of thinking, but I'm not quite sure. And I guess in that case, I just wait and see and think. I think thinking is one of our best tools. We don't always have to speak, and I know you actually talk a lot about speaking up. But I'm sure there are moments where it's okay to just figure out what you want to speak up about. It's not for the sake of speaking up, right?
Yeah, I think so. For me, there have been moments where I'm convicted by not having an opinion on a really important matter in society, or an important matter when it does come to things that I love. And I feel convicted by it, and mainly because that...
What do you mean by convicted? Like you feel like you have to have an opinion, or...?
I feel that I need to speak up, but I don't, because if I'm questioned in what I speak up in, then I can't congruently argue in a way. And so for me, it is really fundamental that if I'm going to speak, that I need to be so convicted and so congruent with the words that I say, that if you argue any word at all that I say, if I may, I will take you down, because I'm convicted by every word that I say.
What do you mean by convicted? Like you feel like you have to have an opinion, or...?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And as you were talking, it made me feel that that I need to be a little mindful of sharing my opinion, because if I do, then you will create offence. And I believe we're living in a world where we are taught to be easily offended.
That's the problem.
And so even though I want to speak my conviction and speak my truth, I know that if I'm too assertive with that if I argue that more, or if I speak from that deep place, that I will offend. And to a certain extent, I have a filter when it does come to offending too much in certain areas, because it will affect me putting food on the table for my kids.
Yeah, I feel actually differently, because I can enter, like right now, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. This is your expertise. But I feel like I have an opinion, and by having a discussion with you, an argumentation, but in English, argument means something else. In my Swiss background, it's normal to have these arguments with each other, because I don't know on this topic as much as you do. However, having this conversation helps me to deepen my stance. So I personally don't need to know everything on a specific topic like right now to be able to have an opinion or a discussion, because as we talk, I'm actually forming my opinion, because I can feel what's resonating and what's not.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And as you were talking, it made me feel that that I need to be a little mindful of sharing my opinion, because if I do, then you will create offence. And I believe we're living in a world where we are taught to be easily offended.
That's the problem.
And so even though I want to speak my conviction and speak my truth, I know that if I'm too assertive with that if I argue that more, or if I speak from that deep place, that I will offend. And to a certain extent, I have a filter when it does come to offending too much in certain areas, because it will affect me putting food on the table for my kids.
I've seen that, yeah. I think in your case, I've seen that, which we talked before about the congruency gap. I think where you feel like you have to filter certain things not to offend others. I think for me personally, when somebody, and we're the perfect example, when somebody comes from a place of respect, I respect you as a person, I respect your opinions, which are very polarizing. I don't agree with your opinions. But I think when you come from that place of respect and being okay with someone else's opinions, that's the beauty of being able to share.
That's beautiful.
I don't think it offends if the way that, I think the delivery of your message matters more than, I actually feel more offended you holding back on your conviction. And this week is the first time where I actually really connect with you, and it's because, not because of our alignment in opinion. In fact, we couldn't be further apart, probably, or we're quite far apart, but I feel more connected than ever because for the first time I don't see this congruency. What's the opposite of congruency?
A facade.
Yeah, kind of a filter. Let's call it a filter. But it's also how you are able to share your opinion that is not offensive. It's an opinion.
Talking about congruency and talking about being un-F-withable, and really everything why is that important to you?
I think because the self-help industry, which we're both kind of in, or at least a little bit, in that industry, every book tells you to do more, to be more, to hustle more, to add 7 more things to your morning routine. And I think that's the opposite. You take away all the bullshit. You don't need 5 hours in the morning to get ready for the day. If you have it, great. Most of us don't have the luxury. But that's just one example. It's the framework is about undoing things. It's like peeling the layers off. Just ditch all this noise. A lot of it is so much noise. And it's getting worse with AI and people. And we talked yesterday about now in the future we'll be collecting through thoughts. It's so much chatter, noise. This is strip it all away and find the gold here. And then create from that place, which you're doing with your conviction when you allow yourself.
And when it does come to that place of wonder and awe, does everyone need to have wonder?
Need is maybe a strong word. I think it helps anyone to live a life that is more alive. I think I would love for my kids, the latest book that I've written is dedicated to my girls who are only 3 and 5. And I was thinking, what would I want them to know? If I'm suddenly gone, or when I'm one day gone, what do I want them to know about life? And it's that I would love for them to never lose their sense of curiosity that you have as a kid, to keep questioning, to have that sense of wonder, to stop, to ask, not just to follow the teacher or your partner or somebody that tells you to do something a certain way. Keep wondering and do it with kindness in your heart.
Yeah.
And follow that journey wherever that leads you. That is my desire for, so yes, I would love for everyone to have wonder. I think we lose it.
Oh, 100%. We do. And maybe it's society, maybe it suppresses us out of us, or maybe even it is come down to an internal locus of control of worry about what people think of us, of suppressing our emotions, of carrying doubt or to a certain extent, imposter. And so being really unapologetic, I think is...
Because I think your book is almost like, if you ask me, why do you need to speak up?